Quentin.
Hi, Quentin. So I just got off the phone with Lily just a
Hi,
few
Noel.
minutes ago. So she's got her laptop and she's on board and she's 80% through financial statement. So I asked her she's going to join today.
Great.
Yeah, she's back in communication, which is great. And also, Quentin, you were asking me for the docs for those.
Lily's here.
Yeah, here she is.
Welcome, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
You're on mute, just so you know.
Good. Can we unmute her?
I think she's muted.
She might want to be muted right now.
Okay. That's right. That's true.
There she
She's
is.
unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit. You're far
Very
away.
quiet.
Hello, how about now?
A little bit better.
Maybe I should just yell, right?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Put the microphone right up next to your mouth.
All right. I thought I could try to eat something, but I guess not.
Oh, you can mute and have something to eat. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quiet, so I'm yelling.
Okay, how about now? Is it better?
Yes.
Much better.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I'm holding right next to my lips.
That would be very funny if the video was on.
So how's everybody doing?
We've got critical mass. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
So maybe Caroline, maybe you might want to introduce Lily, or Lily, maybe you want to introduce yourself.
Lily, go for it.
All right. Yeah, sorry, I don't have a camera on my computer, so you can just hear my voice. That should be good enough.
Your voice is
I
good.
work with Caroline on web projects. For Docker Symbol, 2 years ago, I worked on a very short, like 1-page, very primitive symbol. Oh, sorry, hold my water is boiling.
Okay, well, this is Lily that Caroline talked about yesterday or the day before, I think.
Yeah.
How long? I think maybe we just go ahead with anyone who has blockers, and I think maybe the next thing we talk about is Kate Barry and the work with the SMEs and the pair programming. So I think that's quite the next big thing that's coming up.
And I have.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
And maybe David, do you have any feedback from the courts as well?
Yeah, I've just now actually gotten a prioritized list of some of the stuff they sent over before. So instead of just a block of like, all of these are emergencies, like this is more emergency than that emergency. So.
Okay. Lily, so do you want to finish your introduction?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So like 2 years ago, I worked on a very simple 1-page or 2-page form on using Docker symbol. And then this February, I did my second interview, which was online Snap calculator, but it's only internal version. We haven't published yet. And then Caroline gave me this financial statement and say, do you want to try this? I said, sure, of course. Well, I guess in a way, it's actually a very project to really delve into Docker symbol. It involves a lot of things that I didn't know before. So I'm getting into all the iterations, you ask the same question over and over, and with also like multi-user, because on the signature page there's the client's signature and also the attorney's signature. So you would need to have 2 users to use this form, and then because of the iteration of each of a lot of questions. For example, do you have if you have more than one job, or if you own more than one property, or if you have more than one debt, then the form itself doesn't have enough space to list all these answers of the questions. So then I created a addendum file in Word, and then using the PDF concatenator function and to generate a final file, which is a combination of the original form and the additional attachment. I still have some small technical difficulties to resolve, but I think in terms of the scope, I have done probably 70–80% of this form. So right now I'm just jumping to this group project. I'm very excited to know what you guys are doing, but I don't know what I'm doing can fit into this bigger picture. That's it for now.
Maybe Caroline or David can actually speak, or maybe Michelle can speak to how what you're doing, or Quentin, and how what you're doing is going to fit into the bigger picture at the end of the day.
Well, good work on the financial statement, by the way. I mean, I've done those and they are monsters. I spent like 40 hours doing one of them for a different project. And it will definitely be useful. You know, it's a key form for a lot of the family law issues. So we're definitely going to make use of it.
Great, thank you.
Am I correct that Lily isn't on Slack? Lily, are you on Slack, or just email?
I am on
Slack.
Slack, right? Sorry.
Okay, perfect. Then I'll reach out to you on there, and then maybe drop you some more documents that might help you get on board, and then just communicate with you directly there. Obviously, conscious of everyone's time. So if anyone's on here that has to get off and then has a block that they want to talk about, just raise your hand. I know Hadley's got finals coming up, so if you don't, Hadley doesn't have to stick around if there's nothing that's gonna be important to her. Anyone else?
Well, you have some of those coming up
Wait,
too?
what's the question? Sorry.
Do you have any blocks that you need to talk about and then jump off? Otherwise, we'll get talking about the SMEs, paired programming.
Not that I
and
need to
then-
talk about.
Okay. Hadley, is there anything that you need to talk about?
No,
Noel?
so I'm gonna go.
Okay, bye, Hadley.
Bye.
Bye.
Can
No?
I just mention, I'm working on the petition for the conservatorship, and it's taking me a long time because it's 6 pages and there's just a lot to it. So I was just wondering if someone who quality checks it and then wants to talk about it, just let me know, because it was hard to do the labels. So just if anyone knows that they're going to quality check it, Maeve or whatever, just let me know, because we might need to like Zoom and talk about it.
Okay. I think maybe I'll just or maybe you could just make a comment on that on the Trello card, if you
Okay.
haven't already, and just say this was a very complicated form. If anyone who QCs it can talk to me about it.
Okay.
I might end up QCing it over the weekend, and then maybe just making a list of questions and talking to you about them on Monday.
Okay, and I'm happy to do
Okay.
the wizard for it too, just because I feel like I'll understand my thought
Yeah.
process. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Should we
Thank
put
you
that
very
extra
much.
human attention needed tag on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was it took a long time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for doing it and putting in the work and not giving up.
Yeah, no, it was totally worth it, and I think it makes sense now. I just want to follow through with it.
Okay. Perfect. Well, maybe just put that comment on the Trello card so that if somebody else does look at it before I get to it, then they know that you're the one to contact, and then also just label it extra human attention.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else got blocks, or maybe we can go on to Cape with the SME pair programming.
Yeah, so Matt who's not here, I think he's doing his like amicus brief. He had identified probably that we were going to have a bottleneck in terms of the paired programming, in terms of especially SMEs, since right now we really only have me and Caroline, but Laura Gal was able to connect us with 4 new legal aid family law staff attorneys, 2 from NLA, 1 from CLA, 1 from South Coastal, who are willing to put in a fair bit of time in the next on the 209A forms. That way we can have paired programming hopefully running in parallel with not just like 1 or 2 forms at a time, but ideally match a developer up with a SME with a form, and all these things can kind of happen at once and to speed along the process. So Matt and I had a phone call with them and Laura Gal last night, the 4 of them. They were all excited. 2 of the 4 have joined the Slack. I strongly encouraged the other 2 to join the Slack. I don't think they have yet, but I think they will. Sarah, if you see Sarah O'Brien and Michelle Hamlin are the 2 that just joined, and then Emma Hollis should be joining, and Kim Yox. and they're all, I think, pretty much ready to go as soon as we can connect people with a developer. Matt and I had some initial thoughts on matching up people with forms. I think a lot of the questions are which developers are ready and able to also do this.
I can be, as soon as I get a PR, as soon as I finish testing a PR, I can be ready to go on those things. But I've been trying to like sit down and just get this PR done all day and all yesterday afternoon. So
Tom Trainer, I spoke to him and he said that he feels confident that by Monday he would be able to take on the dev role. But I said to him that another option would be he could also perhaps just shadow someone. And if he feels it's useful, stay on that call. If he doesn't feel like it's useful, he can jump off it.
He did shadow before.
Okay. He did like the idea of just shadowing just this specific task, I guess, just to be a bit more confident.
So who else do we have then on the developer side? Because
saying that, but I think as we said that she would probably be more comfortable shadowing as well at this stage. And then Tyler Shannon as well, he also needs to shadow. We don't have anyone besides the people on this call. I don't know if anyone's thinking, and Matt, that are actually ready to go in the dev role.
So I can be part of one of those first calls too. Just have to figure out when it is. And I probably can't adopt a new form until I finish the one that I'm working on.
I think that makes sense because that's a terrible form.
Yes. Seemed so easy when I first started it. And then it's this little box that has like 500 questions.
Yeah. I know our thought was maybe Caroline would work on the 209A affidavit because I don't think that's been paired programmed at all, right?
I thought Caroline, maybe Kendall. I'm not sure if he has the bandwidth. I did reach out to him and he doesn't.
Because I think that's the most complicated form. And Caroline?
I think you're muted.
Oh, you're muted. I can talk. I'm not muted.
Oh, is she? Okay, Caroline.
So I mean, the thing is, I put up like a I put up a fake DocAssemble YAML for the logic for affidavit. So I can do that. Anybody who can do more DocAssemble than I can do, it's like I was saying to Maeve before the call starts, the time it takes to figure out that I put too many spaces in, the little stuff makes me crazy. But I think the logic for the affidavit is good. And then Quentin, I think that the flow that I've got and what you can do in DocAssemble will make the affidavit of care go much more easily because I've thought through the whole thing in terms of the loops. It's not exactly what you're doing, but I think it would be an easier flow. So I'll put that into I think actually I might have done it in Notepad, but just forgot to send it to you.
And I've also got that flow chart which shows it as well.
Yeah, so that flow chart works a little bit different. Well, so you're talking about affidavit of care. So Maeve, you did the affidavit of care. There's one little mistake in there that I wasn't clear about. But no, you did the Maeve, you did the 209A affidavit. You did the 209A affidavit, and Kate did the affidavit of care.
Yeah, so Quentin and I, in the flow chart I made is not, I think, what Quentin, what exists now. That was kind of just like a preliminary rough draft.
Yeah, but I think
there's some pretty big changes that have been made to it.
Yeah, so I think I got your logic, Quentin, but I think it makes sense to get the addresses up front, but then so each child's case. And then, so you're sort of going from the parent point of view with all of the children and then the cases, and it can be, everything goes crisscross. Whereas if you ask about the children and the case, because you could have several children that have different custody case, different outcomes, and you have to do each case per child and all those different details that way.
Sometimes you have multiple children on one case.
Yeah. Right. No, I think that's right. But I still think you should, because you have to do child A, child B, child C, child D.
I mean, you can put multiple kids if this I think you can put multiple kids on one line.
Definitely.
For
No,
one
definitely.
case. Yeah.
I'm just saying the order in which you ask the questions might be easier if you're coming by child case than by than going. You're actually coming from the parent, really. Your logic now, and then you're taking the children as a group. So, you know. Anyway, I think it's more complicated the way you're doing it, but you know, maybe it's just because I'm stuck because I've been thinking about the way the direction that I've been doing for 2 years. So I may just not be able to think differently.
No, I mean, we'll help to see another way. And there's always things that you don't know until you've tried them and test it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely make use of that. Given the timing of it, we'll have to see. We might not get all of the best versions of it in the first
No,
draft.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think actually, come to think of it, until you asked me for the Word docs for the addenda, I totally forgot. Of course, Jacqueline Sullivan was working on this affidavit of care a year and a half ago in DocAssemble.
Oh, okay.
So she got stuck at a certain point because neither one of us had the technical thing. But I can find that and send that to you as well.
Yeah, it can't hurt to have more than one idea. And then I'm working on a similar form in Washington right now too, which is also helpful.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Hi,
Not exactly the same, because
Sorry, Lily wants to say something.
Oh, right. Karna, I just want to ask you a question. Remember back when I just joined you, we did some flowchart for 201A. I don't know if that's...
You and I did a oh yeah. I don't know where I have to look for that.
Yeah, it's for every scenario. I think if we can find those files, and also there's an Excel file that actually lists all the logic. So if we can find those files, maybe we can see if there's any use of them.
Yeah, that would be particularly for affidavit of care. But yeah, I'll look for those and see if we've got those as well.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
So with the generally pairing the SMEs, Matt thought that the general 209A affidavit probably did still need paired programming. Do you think it does? I mean, I know you did the logic, but we thought it might make more sense to still have you actually physically on a Zoom call with someone just to get it right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I don't have the DocAssemble fluency.
Yeah, and even with the flow, it might just go smoother if you're there, like telling people. Okay.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
So and just in terms of like dev availability, then that's the main issue here.
Yeah, because I think we have the SMEs, and like Laura had kind of suggested that Kim be put on whatever, like one of the more complicated ones, and we thought that the impoundment might be good for her because it does have kind of the big blocks. So
yeah, I'm
hoping I was gonna show Kim what you would put together for the general affidavit just to give her a sense of like what can be done for affidavits. It's not like the same robust affidavit, but I think Kim's like super experienced, and I think she'll be able to guide that form pretty well. The others are less experienced, but Laura heavily endorses them. So
yeah,
if Laura endorses people, I trust them.
There's a good rubric.
Okay. Yeah.
So then, I mean, our goal then to try and get some devs available. You said that these SMEs are available next week to.
Yeah, I think I asked them to send me like any big blocks of unavailability. Nothing significant has come up, and they all were roped in, being told, it will probably be like a fair bit of work. Expect to spend a few hours on Zoom with some hours of follow up, just so we didn't like pull people in. We're like, yeah, I'll help, and then they disappear. And hopefully some of them might really be suckers. I know at least one is that I think you're really gonna really get her in.
So then
Not suckers, Kate. Team players like yourself.
Yeah.
I think what I'll try and do is try and locate some devs then and try and firm up those ones that maybe feel like who probably should be confident enough to go. I know that the majority of them are on the call. Michelle and Quentin. And Matt is unavailable this weekend, but he's free up again on Monday. So
yeah,
he's going to do a lot of that. And then the remainder, I mean, do you think this is going to be a task that's worth shadowing for people who are on the fence about whether they're good enough to do this?
I mean, there's so many forms to go.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
do
think
think,
we,
Kate,
one-
go ahead. Sorry, David.
I was just gonna like a thing to like, we need to start reminding ourselves that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And the more people we can get to sort of help lessen the load over time. So I really think it's worth investing the time to get more people.
That's a good question, actually. Are we having a sprint at the beginning, or like, is it a sprint right now and then
It's
it'll be
kind of a sprint right
marathon,
now and then a
or-
marathon.
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Okay.
sprint to get the 209A out, but
Mhm.
after that, then it's
Slow
more of a
down a bit.
marathon.
I'm much
We-
better at marathons. I like that idea.
We basically need to get to the point where there's something out there, right? It's a sprint to the first MVP, and that then buys us I think that buys us all the things we need with people to get to help make it continue to work.
I
Another
love it.
question is like, is there one part of the 209A, because it's several forms, that would be more super priority? Because it's a very complex package. Like, I don't think any of the other things
Mine
with
is shaking her
are going
head.
to be as hard.
You can't file a 209. I mean, the two things that you could take out, actually, the two things you could take out, you could start off with a 209A for people who don't have children under 18. I mean, or, basically you don't have children, so you just do a 209A. You could do that. But it might, it depends on how much like publicity or outreach or anything you get, because it's like people come, and if they can't do it, they may not come back again. And that's that's
Yeah.
a decision that you guys have to make.
The thing I would
Or
say
they'll
is
try to
that if
shove their
someone needs something
situations
right
in.
now and we can't give them something at all, them not coming back again isn't the problem. The problem is them not having access now. So I like the idea of it. If we could do a rolled release where it was, without children, and we could get that out there, and then it was easy then to work that into a
Also, we might be
multiple.
able to set expectations,
Mhm.
right? Because we might be able to say, this is a 209A without children. So before they start, like where the link is,
Yeah.
and at the first page, it says, this is without children. The
Yeah.
one for children is coming soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
I
so
think
then,
that
My one worry is that people with children would fill out what exists anyway,
That's a worry.
and like
Well, I guess the
make
question is,
their
what's the
situation worse.
Well,
the
that's-
delta? Are we talking about
Yeah.
the difference between the beginning of next week and the end of next week, or the beginning of next week and the end of the month?
when is the end of the
Well,
month? The end of
it's
the
really
month is
hard to
2
say.
weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean, you heard Caroline
Mhm.
saying that she spent a year and a half on this forum the first time. So we're going to not take we're not going to give ourselves that same high level of expectations, I think. And we also are doing it in a way that hopefully parallelizes, not paralyzed.
Nothing will get done.
Yeah. So like the form I'm working on, I feel like I will have something that is a serviceable draft very soon, meaning like definitely by the end of next week, but hopefully way sooner. There's always things that you haven't run into yet, but you don't know how long they'll take. But we're doing everything on a super accelerated timeline. A month would be still a super accelerated timeline for this whole set of forms.
Quentin, the thing is, I'm certain you could finish the affidavit of care by the end of the week. Because
Yeah, it seems like that to me very
it's-
much so right
yeah.
now. It's
even
pretty
if
close.
you,
I've gotten the
even if
biggest
you,
ironed out.
yeah, even if you did a different logic tree, because you can do it, but it depends how much time you have. I mean, if you only have an hour a day, it's not going to work. But if you just sat down and did it, I'm sure you could get through it and finish it. So it's that kind of fitting it in with things. That's where your timeline comes in.
Yes. Yeah, I probably have like 2 hours of productive time a day to work on something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I might, if I get to actually sit down and look at this, if I'm not bouncing back and forth between things, my logic is decent, my execution flow is decent, I'm learning more about objects. If that's all that needs to be known, then I can try and contribute to that work. But
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
have this
worried
form.
about-
I think it'll get finished.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more.
Okay.
I wouldn't say we need more people to jump onto this particular form. I'm just thinking.
Okay.
This is my experience with this form. When we get to the next one that hasn't been started, it'll probably be similar, right? So we just kind of setting expectations for this whole
Okay.
project.
Yeah. So that's
Sure.
yeah. I
Right,
think
sure.
I think that's entirely fair. And as we move into other forms, it's not the same rush as the beginning. It's just that we want to be able to, and we have a little coverage right now because there's paperwork still going back and forth, and that always takes longer than people would like. But it would be nice if once that paperwork was in place, we were able to, and we will have something with the temporary restraining order in the housing context ready. But it would be nice because the chief is really keen on the 209A. And I think that will get us buy-in from a lot of the other, like I said, it's a loosely federated set of kingdoms, the courts.
Yeah.
So helping anything that makes them realize this will end up saving them effort that's going to be what gets the buy-in. And if the 209As come in nicely and look exactly the way they want and help get things done, then that'll be good for us.
And looking at the future, you might be able to talk with Code for America about this stuff. If that's something y'all are interested in, it would be good for me to know because that's a community I'm also involved with.
Yeah, and if we think we need that, and if we think that we could utilize that, if we have enough SMEs that we could be pairing people with stuff and they could come up to speed.
They're not just coders. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got translators, they've got UI people, they've got project management, they've got like a lot of resources. And like, it depends. It depends what the project is, and it depends who they have at the time. I'm just saying that that it's not just
that would
coders.
that would be a community I would love for us to reach out to. And so I
So
empower you in your position as a project manager to figure out how that interface might look.
All right, the conversation will be started.
Okay, I'm conscious of everyone's time, as always. So if anybody, I think we've talked about the SMEs. I'm going to try from my side to wrangle devs that aren't on this call that are comfortable to be paired right now, with the aim of working next week. And then,
Sorry.
You can go. What did you
Oh,
say?
I was gonna say, and maybe like if a paired programming is happening, like Michelle could invite the ones that just need like 1 or 2 more shadows, or Matt, whoever's actually doing it. If you have something scheduled, just to like invite them on, and that could.
Yeah, I think I'll do the liaising for that. I know the people who need the shadowing or who want the shadowing. So it's a case of just kind of getting everyone's schedule to line up. Other than that, maybe David, do you have any feedback from the courts or anything that we should know about?
We're just in paperwork limbo land. So, well, I'm working on that. It's a lot of fun manipulating of words. I get to do a lot of redlining, which is a fun process. Where yes, it's not important. Nothing you need to worry about.
Otherwise, I think thank you guys so much for all this work that you're putting in. Especially, just everybody on this call particularly has been working so hard. And Lily, we're so happy to have you on board as well. Caroline spoke very highly of you. So we're looking forward to getting to work with you as well.
But no pressure.
But no pressure.
Thank you. It's an honor to join.
So I think that's all for today, unless anyone else had anything last minute.
I echo your sentiments.
I just wanted to say also, I mentioned Jacqueline Sullivan. I totally forgot to invite her, and she would be somebody who probably needs to shadow, but she has done some doc assemble development as well. And I guess I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So I emailed her this morning. So I'm hoping that she will join next week.
Okay. Yeah, she definitely knows about this project, and
she
really
she knows
in a general conversation about family law forms being digitized in Massachusetts, so people could stop paying for turbo law. So
yeah,
that is something. Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully she has bandwidth to help us, because I think it was more of an ask that she had originally.
Fun fact, I do think the MOU with the court will include the entire language of an MIT license. Just fun fact.
All right.
Holy moly, really? Wow. Hey.
I mean, there's going to be stuff around that, but.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive.
Guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you. It's a Patriots Day on Monday for you.
It is?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It is Patriots Day.
So if you take it for a holiday, then Tuesday. We'll talk on Tuesday. Unless you want to Monday. I'm here.
I'm
It's soft
Probably
holiday. I think
working
I'm supposed to tell Quentin that he doesn't have to work. Um,
Are
but if he
we-
wants to in his free time, I'm not going to stop him. But
Well, Tom Train has already volunteered to work through Patriots Day, and
Mhm.
just putting it out there.
Oh, man.
No
Beautiful.
pressure, Quentin.
I'm,
We no
I'm,
longer
I'm
have
up for it.
evacuation day. I was looking forward to taking that holiday off, but
I'm up for working on Patriots Day. I assume people aren't interested in working on the weekend, like not SME stuff, right? On the
I
weekend?
always work. I work all weekend.
Oh,
So I mean, and I'm eager to get this stuff going myself.
all right. Well, if we can figure out something that I can do with you, then
Yeah.
If
Or-
you
I'll
need
jump
me,
on
I'm
the call on
around.
Monday.
if
Oh,
I'm not
thanks,
We're trying to
Kate.
PRs. And if I'm not
We'll
doing
try not to bug
PRs,
you guys.
yeah.
So then, Noel, maybe then Wednesday for that form.
I'm gonna be on Monday, but
You guys work too hard.
well, it's
Okay.
just mine is what else do we have going on? Like I don't have anything going on.
the
So
only
What day
big
is
thing
it
on
anyway?
Patriots Day, Maeve, is usually just the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
That's
no.
rescheduled.
No
marathon
marathon.
this year. Oh, man.
Otherwise, we'd all be out running.
Of course.
That's what
Okay.
I'd be
it's been many
doing.
years since I did that.
Well, maybe I'll see you guys on Monday, maybe not. Otherwise, enjoy the weekend and have a good Patriots Day.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye.
And Quentin, you're going to have to upload because I think you came on first, so you'll get the recording.
oh, okay, I'll do that.